think the 2014 draw is what I would say a spectacular advertisement for the game. If you look at every round across every city, across every club, you'll find some incredible matchups at either to go to the ground and watch it or certainly on broadcast. And I genuinely think members and fans have a great right to feel excited about going into 2014 because there are some quality events to go to next season. There's absolutely no doubt this is one of the best draws I think we've put out.
Well, the greatest gauge, I guess, from our point of view is our members and our corporates. From the feedback we've received so far, there is no doubt that we've satisfied three geographical groups, the ANZ Stadium group. Leichhardt Oval has got 3 Sunday afternoon games of football, which for us is pure gold. And obviously Campbelltown are hosting some of the biggest superstars in rugby league, with Melbourne Storm and the Brisbane Broncos being down there. So from a club point of view, we're over the moon.
There's a real focus on building some event games at ANZ Stadium as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the fact that we've got the Rabbitohs there in round 3 is a massive bonus. It's going to be a terrific game. Some of our young guys coming through, and some of the more experienced guys are looking forward to that game already.
For us, it's a bit of history. We're going to play 3 games at Eden Park, and we're going to start 3 of the first 4 rounds there, and also go to Wellington and play the Tigers. And we haven't had the Dragons over for a while, so I'll get to take Delsty out to a restaurant, which will be great. And to have them and the Tigers join us for the start of the season is excellent. And I also like the fact that the Bulldogs have brought a home game and down to Dunedin. So it's pretty exciting. And as I said, the momentum on the back of the Nines for us to play 3 games at Eden Park was pretty exciting.
First of all, I think it's been clear over a number of years that players, fans, clubs are looking for more daytime football. So I think that will be a real bonus that we'll see another game played in the day. It's going to take some work, and it's got strong buy-in from Fox and the clubs, I think, in order to try to make that a successful slot. But I'm really excited to see more daytime football in the draw. You'll see significantly less Sunday night football. You'll see Sunday night football in the first 3 rounds, which really assists us with heat. But then we'll be moving towards more daytime football on Saturday afternoon. And I think genuinely that's a great result for fans and for clubs and for players. When you go to the table with broadcast contracts that involve hundreds of millions of dollars, I think it highlights the fact that we're in a commercial landscape, and it's clear that the Broncos rate in Brisbane, and that's why they're being chosen by 9, and I don't think we can shy away from that. The 26 rounds are set, but the broadcast arrangements are locked and loaded for the first 20, and that's what we're announced today. Yeah.
There is a cap on the amount of Broncos games which can appear on free-to-air, which is 18, and that'll be occurring over the 26 rounds.
We never talked about standalone. We did talk about shortening the origin period and reducing it to 2 weeks between games. We consulted quite heavily, Nathan and I, with the elite players through both New South Wales and Queensland, and both coaches. And there wasn't an appetite to support that. And primarily that appetite wasn't there because they felt that the spectacle of origin, as good as it is, requires that period of time between games in order to bring themselves back up to that level. We've agreed to re-look at that with the elite players again this year, and we'll do some numbers on the metrics of ratings and crowds, etc., and talk to the players again. But to do those sorts of structural changes to the draw, we weren't in a position to do that for 2014. Unlike any other sport, we have to provide a draw that puts together a 26-week elite competition, and in the middle of that, we place in arguably the greatest sporting event in the country, which is State of Origin, on top of that with a representative calendar. So the challenges to put together this type of draw is extremely complex. A variety of stakeholders, many of those stakeholders with competing interests. This is a very complex and difficult piece of work to do, and it has taken hundreds and hundreds of man hours, significant thought and attention and strategy in order to put out the draw that you see today. There have been months of work and months of discussions in order to try to get to something which is the best that can possibly be. But I'll get Nathan to talk specifically about the games inside that window.
We identify, Jimmy, a big pool of matches that we try and exclude from that time period. Now it is very difficult to try and exclude all of those games, and sometimes you'll see potentially a handful of those fall within those rounds, but again, we attempt as much as possible to exclude our marquee events from that time period of the season.
I think there'd be an appetite to play as many games as we can regionally, but commercially, you need to understand that clubs are trying to make profits out of their very small window of opportunity, which is 12 games. I mean, Wayne gets 12, Grant gets 12, they're open for business 12 times a year, and they've got to commercialise those as best they can. They've also got to represent the interests of their stakeholders, and primarily I mean their members. So taking games away is difficult. I think we've come up with a very good strategy in Sydney with 6 clubs all together, giving reciprocal rights, some massive games at ANZ Stadium and the football and the Allianz Stadium here, some Sunday afternoon football, which I think is fantastic. So I think all of those things augur well for us in the 2014 draw. There's certainly a place for suburban venues, and I think there always will be. That's clear within the draw we put out today, and I think it's still clear in the future. But I think it's a right game, right venue strategy, and if you've got ability to draw big crowds and big Sydney blockbusters together, what we're saying to clubs is let's try to find a way to maximise those attendance opportunities and work together. And when the West Tigers play the Rabbitohs, we want both groups of fans engaged. We want 40,000 plus to those sorts of events, and we've shown over the last 3 to 5 years that we can achieve that. We got some massive crowds last year, 50,000 I think at Easter, and 60,000 towards the back end for club football, and we should be aiming high. We should be reaching for the stars and trying to get as many people to our games as possible. To do that, you have to play in the biggest venues and you have to provide the best facilities, and that's what the draw provides for.
Todd, I think from our perspective too, we 5 years ago wouldn't have dreamed of playing at Eden Park, and we're averaging about 13,000 at Mount Smart. We've averaged 35 at Eden Park, so the next step for us is to take 3 games there, and we had 30,000 in Wellington, and it's part of the game. We've got to pay the bills and grow the game. So it's not always ideal from a travel perspective or playing at a venue that your members aren't used to, but it's exciting for the game, that's for sure.
As I said at the beginning, don't underestimate the complexity of this draw and how difficult it is. But particularly those 2 guys have spent countless hours, a lot of late nights putting this together. It goes into new territory, I think, and it's a wonderful spectacle for the game next year to put a draw like this out. And I wanted to publicly acknowledge both Nathan and Sean. They've done a wonderful job putting that together.